Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to annotate an existing spreadsheet file, CSV file, which by the way stands for comma separated values. We're going to re-upload it, and then we're going to look at line graphs and annotate them that have more than one phase of data, because that's ultimately what you're going to do. So I just opened up the client X data that I used previously in module 3. And as you see, we had created two variables, a phase variable, which we called P disrupt, and our behavior variable, which was disrupt. And this was the baseline data, and this could be some sort of disruptive behavior for our client. This could be anything from how much a client was disruptive in a group setting or a classroom, or it doesn't really matter. This is really just example data. And we created this data during our assessment, which lasted 5 days. So we could pretend this is a school. It lends itself quite well to a school setting. And after 5 days, we stopped collecting baseline data. And it's very important to put this NA between phases. If you don't put it between phases, or you don't put it like this between phases, don't do N/A, lowercase n, lowercase a. It's got to be capital N, capital A. You're going to have an error when you go to assess your compare your baseline to your intervention. So make sure you have both phases in. So now I'm just going to add some intervention data. And again, this is going to be made up for your homework assignment. I'm giving you a specific table with data in it, so it won't be made up. But we can say that client X was, we'll add 10 data points. In a disruptive 3 times, and then 5 times, and then 1 time. This client was super disruptive on that 4th time. And, you would be, collecting this over time. We're just entering data because, we were working on other types of assignments. So, okay, and I'm not sure if that's 10. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Well, we have a little bit more than 10. And in the language of single subject research designs, while our baseline phase is noted as A, our B phase denotes the next phase or the intervention. So I'm going to put B's all the way down here. And now you see that this is saved. So we have it saved. But now we need to export it as a CSV file. So we're going to go do our download to our comma separated values. And we're just going to save the file. It's going to appear in our downloads as it had previously. And now I'm going to go into RStudio Cloud. And all that I've done so far is just open my workspace. I just prepped this for us here. And now I'm going to upload this. Now, I don't want to overwrite our baseline data for client X. So we're going to have to give it a different name. And I'm going to go to my downloads. And it's already giving it a different name. So we're okay here. And I'm going to click OK. And now we can rename this, by the way. This isn't a great name. So why don't we click the box, check the box next to it, hit rename, and we're going to call this client X baseline and intervention. Whatever meaningful name it has for you. I'm going to click OK, and then it'll be there sort of in perpetuity. So anytime you add data to a spreadsheet, you're going to have to upload it again. So over time, I suspect that with your own work, you're going to, every day, every other day, or once a week, or whatever, periodically, you're going to be uploading it. I suggest keeping all your baseline data together and then a combined file with your baseline and intervention as we have here. Okay, so now I can utilize the script that we had created previously. So I'm going to just click this script here, and you'll see that it drops down. Now, we're just going to add to what we've done, and the first thing we need to do is to attach our data file, because even though we have it in our files over here, it's not in our global environment. So if I click on this, I simply need to find it and open it and attach it. Now, if you forget to attach it, you're going to get errors when you try to use the data. It might look like it's up here, but it's in your environment, but it's not available to use until you attach it. So you may have a situation that if you forget to attach it, you'll get an error saying an object isn't found, with the object being one of your variables. Okay, now we know that this is probably the right file because we still have two variables, but now we have a lot more observations than we had previously. So if we click on this, we can see that we now have our baseline data. It's separated by one row with grayed out NAs, and then we have our intervention data as we entered it previously. So I'm going to X out of this. We don't really need that there. And you can see that the line graph that we created previously actually should work for us here because we still have the same variable names. So I'm just going to click on this row and hit run, and we'll see what happens. And we still have client X's disruptions. This seems great. What you do notice is we have this line here, and then we have a gap. And this is the gap where the NA is. It shows that there's discontinuity between these phases. As is typical in single subject designs, we're going to want to put a line between these phases. So let's do that. And we can use this AB lines function that I have not quite shown you previously. For now, we're not going to use this stat line today. So we're just going to drop down, group this. And we will use this AB text, but we're not going to use that right now because we're going to put a line in first. That'll help us. So if I type AB line, AB lines, and again, you need to make sure that your capitalization is where it needs to be. And it tells us in this little yellow thing that we need to put our behavior variable in between the parentheses. So I'm going to put disrupt, and I'm going to hit run. And like with the AB text, it tells us to click the mouse in the gap between the phases you want the line in. Now I'm going to purposely make this not look great because I want to show you that you can fix it. But let's say I put it here. Well, it actually looks okay. I'm going to actually make it look not good by not accepting it. I'm going to run this again. And what I want to show you is you really want space. You don't want the line to touch any of the data points. But let's say I accidentally put it here. This is not what you want. You want it in that space clearly. So let's hit no again. We'll run it one more time. We'll put it. So what I usually do is I make this graph big enough by adjusting the handles here to make sure that, there's clear space. In this case, it's pretty easy. And this looks good. So like before, you're going to want to accept the edits if you're satisfied. So I'm just going to copy that and put that in my script as a reminder to myself. And now we can label the phases. So we're going to put the baseline, we're going to label the baseline phase A, and we'll hit just run, again with our previous annotation in our script. And now we're going to do the intervention, and I'm just going to change this A to a B. I don't have to type it again. And I want it about the same height. I don't want it to interrupt anything, so I'm going to put it about here, and we'll see if that looks good. And that looks good. That does look good. So I'm going to hit yes. And now, as you all know, you can copy this to a clipboard, you can save the image, etc. So now let's take a look at interpreting this. Because ultimately you're going to be asked to interpret these graphs. And here, this is an actual, and again, this is sort of just made up data that we did on the fly. But here it looks like the climate was fairly disruptive, but the trend was for it to be going down. With this intervention, it looked like it went up a little bit, went down, but then really doesn't look like it's improved. So over time, we're going to see if we can get this to improve, and hopefully it will. And I hope you enjoyed this video.